Wednesday morning. I haven't really stopped to talk about what my classes are doing. I've had all 3 classes this week. Year 9 yesterday I redid the demonstration on marking and cutting of our mortise and tenon joints on our stool, because I think I rushed it the other day. I saw quite a few kids looking a little puzzled. After redoing it, I noticed the kids seeming to get it a bit better. Year 11 timber, they're into the swing of planning. They're trying to come up with the idea of what they want to make. That's the hardest part. And then trying to write a statement of intent to explain what it is you want to make and why. It's really individualised work. I'm there to give hints, provide guidance. I got out a couple of boxes I had the other day of timber samples of all these different hardwoods that we can get from the local timber yard. We discussed the working properties and the costs, even though I don't know the cost because we haven't bought it for a while, especially over COVID. But also had a selection of different manufactured boards as well. If you're going to do something large, maybe use manufactured board as opposed to trying to glue up solid panels, depending on your job. Year 11 construction, still playing a bit of catch up, trying to tie up the loose ends on some of the old clusters, report writing and checking, trying to get all of that finalised for Year 11 reports. Head teacher allocations for the next year are due to me on Friday, end of the day Friday. So I can start putting that into the timetable. We've already got to have some negotiation amongst faculties. I've got staff unload, what can they teach? I've got classes I can't cover, who can teach it? That's where that whole process comes in soon. And I've got a couple of classes I can't cover. So all of my staff are on full load. Now, my other reason for plugging in this morning, because I haven't done anything over the last couple of days, I need to have a rant, but I'll try and keep it short. One of my kids the other day asked why I still wear a mask. I've got my mask here. And I said, COVID's still around. And he said, really? It's not in the news anymore. It's like it's just disappeared out of the news. New South Wales Health still does put out their figures daily. There's still thousands of new cases a day. We're still losing people just in New South Wales. There's also, I believe, a lot of deaths now being attributed to natural causes because people are dying of heart attacks. But there's a lot of studies trying to go into looking into long COVID symptoms. The friend and colleague that we lost last term, he was a young, healthy bloke. I say young, he was only a year older than me. He was a hell of a lot healthier than me. Principal, but he was a PE teacher before that. So he was always healthy. But after he had COVID, after he recovered from COVID, he complained of chest pain and of always being out of breath. And then he passed away of a heart attack. Someone who had no prior issues with his heart. If you watch a YouTuber from England, is a doctor educating everybody basically on the research from across the globe. Dr David Campbell, with the latest variant, Omicron BA5, which is becoming the dominant across the US. It's very quickly becoming the dominant here. I think it's the dominant across England. Symptoms, a lot of people might just take as a cold. I mean, they still say, like, if you have any of those sort of symptoms, you should get checked, get tested for COVID. But there's always people who are asymptomatic. Well, if you're asymptomatic, why would you test? Perhaps it's a case that someone close by you has tested positive, so you test to check. And I've only just been told the changes to rules now. If you're asymptomatic, you're allowed to go to work as long as you wear a mask. Now, if you were asymptomatic and didn't know you had COVID and you just went to work, then, well, there you go. That's like, there's not much you can do about that sort of case. You go, I feel fine, I don't feel sick, I haven't tested, because there's no requirement for testing anymore. If you are asymptomatic, but you do test positive, you're allowed to still go to work, but you are required to wear a mask. That's the only rule. I don't know. Teachers are very well known for going to work when they're not feeling the best, because it's often harder to leave work for a class and take the day off than it is to come in and teach your classes, especially when you teach a practical subject like ours. You'll always see teachers who would come to school when they're under the weather. I have done it for years. The seriousness of something like COVID or full-on influenza. Like, if you had full-on influenza, there's no way you'd want to go into work anyway. But things like COVID, it may not affect you that badly, but it could certainly affect somebody else. Now, we still have a number of staff who wear masks just daily, such as myself, and there's still a fair percentage of students who wear masks. And for them, it may be a case of they're concerned about family members at home. I think even if you're asymptomatic, if you've tested positive, I think the right thing to do is to take some time off and until you're clear. Because you're wearing your mask, it still needs to be removed to eat, to drink. I don't think this is a sensible position. Hasn't become so much of a rant, has it? But I just believe if you have something that can be as deadly as COVID, you really should be still isolating until you test negative. From all accounts so far that I've seen, BA5 Omicron doesn't hang around as long. The severity for most people who do get it and do have symptoms, it's things like sore throat, runny nose, sneezes has become a big thing. Coughs with phlegm, coughs without phlegm. Like, there's a long list of people. But these are symptoms that they've gotten from people who have definitely tested positive. So they go, okay, and the percentage. And the highest percentage, I think, by far, was a sore throat. So if you're keeping a check on what those symptoms are, and you go, geez, I've got a little bit of sore throat, test, come up negative, fine. If you come up positive, then you've got to hope that you don't shed. Just because you're not symptomatic doesn't mean you don't have a decent enough viral load to be able to shed the virus off to other people. I really, really, really look forward to the day when I don't feel like I need to wear a mask outdoors. When I'm out, no mask. But if I'm going into a crowded place, mask. It's kind of good that it's still accepted. For instance, I had to go into the shopping centre yesterday, grocery store, and there's a number of staff and a number of patrons that I did see wearing them, but we're definitely in the minority again. A couple of exciting things happening today. Our brand new big sliding panel table saw is being set up. We got the electricity put onto it, and so now it's all being set up and calibrated, leveled, everything like that by the company here in Forbes. They've sent out their technician this morning, and he's going to do a bit of a orientation with it for us. What we did discover though, when the electrician was putting in the 3-phase power for it, what they usually do is they go, well, okay, there's already a 3-phase outlet there, we piggyback off that, put a brand new outlet in, plug your saw in. He did that, and there was no power to the saw. So I went and checked the fuse box, big panel, and found a 3-phase power fuse that kept tripping. Checked the number on the switch for the saw and the number in the panel, and they're not the same. Okay, that's not the tripping one.
went back to the room. The power point that is piggybacked off is connected to a metal lathe. So I switched on the lathe and it works fine. So we've just swapped the plugs over just for the testing. Power saw works fine, so there's obviously something happened wrong in that piggyback switch. So I'll have to get the electrician back out to check that. I've also ordered some sleepers, some other paling timber for my construction class to work on their cluster 4, which is the garden bed. And I tried doing the order yesterday, couldn't do it online, so I emailed them through. I got the email back with the quote. The freight cost for them to deliver it is almost as much as the cost of the sleepers. Doubled the quote. I'm not paying that much for freight when the place that I want to buy it from is just over 20 minutes away from the school. So I rung them and I said, you know, can it be ready? I'll come over with my ute. We'll just put it into the back of the ute. And he said, yep, that's fine. So driving over to this landscape supplies place. I've got construction today. I'll get them to unload the ute. The technician should be finished setting up the saw by then, he said, and he'll be able to run us through its operations. So looking forward to that.
Your destination is on the left.
I just got to wait for him to come out and put it in. Got a whole stack of the actual screws we need as well here, so that's like minimising the number of stops I've got to do. Here he comes. How you doing? You need that one? Seems working. No worries, thanks. Remember when it was that I was last out this way, but all these houses weren't here. This has really grown out and grown up. So this little exercise this morning, I guess, is one of those ones where you have to say, how much is your time worth? How soon do you need something? Just say I valued my time at $60 an hour. This is taking just over an hour, so say about $80. Well, the delivery was $140, so that's a saving. How much could I have gotten done at work today while I've been gone? That depends on interruptions.
technician setting up the saw, and I just got a text from him saying that he's finished putting it together and he's ready to do a demonstration for myself and my workmate. And I've just messaged him. I said, well, I'm on my way back to the school. I'll be about 20 minutes. If that's too long for him to wait, then just show recess time in a minute. So be available to do that. So hopefully still there to show me stuff. And taking this trip, one thing I got all the screws, like the hardware that I need for this project with the kids too. Part of maintaining your currency to teach vet is that you need to be in contact with industry, and you can't just do that can't always just be phone calls. By just negotiating yesterday with them is one part, but going out there today and talking to them, seeing the way they're set up, discussing stuff with the staff out there, that all goes towards you maintaining contact with industry. And I think another plus is that by me collecting the stuff in the ute, it's a lot closer to what you might expect to do if you're working in the industry. So you order your stuff, you go and, if it's only a small order, you go and pick it up. If it was something that wouldn't fit in the ute, then obviously I'd have it delivered. Like when I get the timber for the framing project, that's going to have to be delivered. The material for the melamine project, I'm going to have to collect that because they won't deliver it. Oh, Mr. Plywood, mate. When I get back, I've got the class today. Part of the class today will be to unload the ute and safely store and stack the materials. An ideal opportunity for the students to learn another part of the course. I think I've even got a long hardwood pallet at work that I've hung onto that they could stack this stuff onto, which is another part of the course. Just thought of that. I hope I don't miss out on the induction on the saw. I know my workmate will be able to show me it if he gets shown it, but I'd like to be shown firsthand. Oh, there's a total tool store. Big warehouse one. Where I am now is only like 10 minutes from the school. There's the Bunnings. I think going to collect it myself is worth it. Saving the money, self-organised professional development, keeping in touch with industry and strapping down a load and having the kids unload it.
Friday afternoon. Been doing marking. Vet courses just have a lot of marking to do. And sitting here with a little bit of reflection, my 2IC, my second in charge, got himself a head teacher job, which is great for him, not so great for us. Which means I need a new staff member for next year, and he's going to be a great loss to the faculty and to the school. This is one of those things that happens in teaching. Your staff come and go. He's going to be a great asset to the new school. And yeah, I don't want to think about it over the weekend. But our table saw got installed. It's all up and running. It's a beautiful new piece of machinery. It'll be great to get that room up and running fully. So spend the rest of this term trying to get it set up as best we can so that Year 12 can start there next year. Got organised storage, got organised tools for there and for the construction space. And it's weekend time.